going to check out a studio today, sort of a co-working space more so than a studio. I'll see if I can give you a tour, but let's go. So I never updated you on yesterday's excursion. I went to La CoFabrik. Why am I pronouncing that Spanish? I'm in France now. So yeah, I didn't get any footage because I got just the quickest tour by someone who was rushing out of the building essentially. And it was very cool. I have 2 points of interest to join an art co-working space. The first one is obviously for the actual workspace, and the second one is to meet people and hopefully make friends and have, create a little network of friends and people who relate to the artsy struggles. I'm opening a letter. If you can hear that, you're welcome for the ASMR. Yeah, I think I will give it a try. It's very inexpensive anyway. If you take a pack of 10 lessons, or 10 lessons, not lessons because you have to be independent, but like if you take a pack of 10 accesses to the space, it amounts to about €5, I think, per session. So it's really quite cheap. So yeah, I just need to actually get my hands on my glass tools and also buy the tools that I still don't have, namely a grinder, which is what you use when you have cut your pieces and you just need to polish them a little bit to make sure that they're not sharp on the outside, and maybe even to refine the cut if you didn't get it perfectly right, so that you can fit all of your pieces together in your stained glass work. So I need to get that, but it ain't cheap, my friend. It ain't cheap. They have cheaper options. You can buy a tiny grinder for about €100 on Amazon. I don't know if it's worth it though, because the pro level grinder is from 160 to €180 on professional websites. So it's not a huge difference. And given the fact that I think I'm pretty serious about stained glass, given how I won't shut up about it, I feel like maybe the entry-level grinder might not necessarily be the greatest, because I'm probably going to want to upgrade sooner rather than later. Also, it's really small. I think it's 11 by 11 centimeters to work on, whereas the other more professional grinders, they're 2 to 3 times that big. They're not massive. They're not massive machines, but they're big enough that you can, fully rest your hands on there and not have too awkward a situation, I think. So yeah, I'm considering that. Now, what say we make a cheeky cup of coffee? Or tea? Whatever you like. You can have whatever you like. Oh, absolute angel. Yes. I'm reading The One by Julia Argy. It's really good. It's a romance novel. You follow this girl who goes on a reality TV show like The Bachelor. It's very fun to see the behind the scenes and the importance of the producer, and I guess the lived reality of, yeah, these people are living in a house and mostly doing nothing, just waiting around. It's just really weird, and a lot of acting and a lot of fakeness. Definitely a page turner. I just had the greatest interaction with the dog. She saw me balancing on these wooden bits and she got really excited. I'm taking a walk in the park this morning to make sure I go outside because, seasonal depression is quick to come in these months. Look at these autumn colors. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. This is a little sneak peek into my actual paid work. So I'm not currently a working artist. I'm not a professional artist. I do video editing for a living. And one of my absolute favorite clients is my very own sister. She has this really cool science channel. I basically take care of the communication strategy, the social media strategy, and we started this new series where I take a topic that she's already covered, she's already researched, she's already validated, and I turn it into a short vertical video to be posted on Instagram and TikTok. And I basically explain the whole thing again, but in my own words. So this one was about toilet paper and why it has motifs on it. Hi! I'm super excited because I've just received a little package. This is the yarn I ordered. Let's open it. Let's open it. I need to figure out where to put this clip. Okay. Okay. We're fine. So, first yarn is this one. It's called Happy Chunky and it's very soft. The main event is actually this color. So like a nice classic red. This little green one, which I might use for details. I also got some regular black and white. Here's 2 white and 2 black. Just because black and white you can use in absolutely any project and you always need a little bit more. So yeah, what could this say about my future project? I'm making a Christmas stocking and I'm very excited because this is the very first project that I'm really making for someone else, and specifically this is for my baby nephew who's just a couple of weeks old at the time of this recording. I thought it would be really cute to gift him a Christmas stocking that he can just use every year and have it as, you know, the traditional Christmas decoration item. I will say, like, the size difference between these 2 yarns is a lot more dramatic than I expected. But you know, that's fine because it's just gonna look super fluffy. This is for the trim of the stocking, so yeah, I can finally get started on this project. Ah. So the other day I was exploring Lille a little bit, which is my new town. I live here now and I'm pretty psyched about it. I'm really enjoying living in the north of France. I walked into this, how can I translate that? It's a bookshop that specifically sells des fins de série. Comment on appelle des fins de série? Let's say you print a book and then you are left with a bunch of stock and you need to just get rid of the stock. It's not going to be reprinted, or at least not for a while, so you just sell it for cheaper. That's the place I went. Is a bookshop that specializes in those items. So you get all kinds of really nice books and items for massively discounted prices. Now, I saw a little something. This is a medieval style oracle. So it's inspired from medieval style drawings, but also tropes, I suppose. And the biggest liberty they take, I would say, is that they center a female character in, if not all, then most cards. And I very much like this style of drawing because it's super minimal. Like, it's very illustration major. It looks like it was drawn with ink or painted with ink. A lot of high contrast stuff, very black and white with just a little punch of orange. The reason I was even out and exploring the city center was actually for this really cool event called Drink and Draw. Anyone who wants to chill with people and draw something can just show up and join. So I went there and it was super nice. I think it would be a nice opportunity to meet people, to maybe make some friends. At the very least, just have a nice moment every other weekend to just draw stuff and be outside of the house and just, you know, geek out a little. I'm also really happy with the drawings I ended up making. at that event. First I started with an observation sketch because I had no idea what to do, and when I don't know what to do, my mind immediately goes to dragons. But I'm not very well versed in dragon anatomy still, so I decided to look at reference images. You're gonna be all smart and say, hey, dragons aren't real, so how could you have reference images for dragons? Well, there are animals that are close enough that you can learn the anatomy of and then slightly alter or combine with other animals. For example, I took a picture of a bearded dragon and that was quite fun. I did actually struggle because I didn't have my Faber-Castell pencil with me, which is my favorite pencil. This one, or actually my mechanical pencil, which I also really like. I had this scrap with me. I don't know what it is, but it just won't make a dark line. It's so difficult to get it to do anything that I want it to do. This is a 2mm criterium, and yeah, again, I don't know if the problem is the size or if the problem is the nib or like what it is, but I hated working with this. So that was a bit annoying, but after I was done with my dragon, I thought, what if I made a seasonal drawing, right? A Christmas specific drawing, let's say. And I remembered a few years ago, I actually came up with a series of Christmas themed witchy drawings. I don't know where the originals are, but I have this very vivid image of a sketch. A witch in the woods, she's surrounded by trees, and she's holding a flame like that. I was picturing like the real meaning of Christmas is actually like burning down a tree. I don't know. I don't think I thought of it that far, but I had this idea of like, that's the real meaning of Christmas. But I also remembered that I felt very frustrated by this sketch because it was very blocky. Here's a block of green for this tree, and then a block of a different green for this other tree, and then like it was very blocky. I don't have a better word for it. It was blocky. And I hated that at the time because I thought that just doesn't look good. But now that I'm working with stained glass, that's perfect for stained glass. Like, literally all you do is work with blocks of color. So I started reworking the sketch and trying to figure out how I could possibly make it stained glassy. So I went for a few different iterations, and I would love to have your opinion on which style you prefer. So at first, I had the image of, like a very close-up image of my witch holding the flame. It was just a bit too zoomed in, and I was like, okay, now I need to go back to thumbnails. So I went back to thumbnails. I zoomed out so that the witch is like this triangular shape in the middle of the piece. Then the question is, how do I deal with the background? The background is a bunch of pine trees, or a bunch of Christmas trees. I could go like an abstract shape and just work with a bunch of different greens and types of textures and everything like that. Or I could go for something figurative still, where I have one tree on either side of the witch and then something a bit more geometrical for the sky. Or I could do a mix where the background is geometric, but then you can still see the ground, and maybe the ground could be like a nice white to evoke the snow. So yeah, I remembered this idea and I decided to brainstorm a little bit, and I'm just really excited for this. I love Christmas, I love the look of Christmas, and it's really fun to see an idea that I had literally several years ago resurface and make better sense now that I work with a material that actually fits with my style and the things that I like. So I'm super stoked about this. This was a very successful drink and draw session, if I do say so myself. And again, definitely let me know which type of composition you prefer. Y'all, to end this vlog on the most positive note ever, I went to my storage unit and I got my stained glass tools back. I'm gonna show you a whole tour of my stained glass tools next week in short form, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I have tried this very different format. I'm not super comfortable sharing bits of my life completely unscripted and unstructured, so let me know if you like it. Again, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited
to continue this YouTube thing in the coming year, and I will see you very, very soon for a video all about my art goals for next year. Have a lovely holiday time. Bye!